OBS should show whatever you see on your screen. That's what
And normally it does. Every other world I record in, it does. It's just that sign is there, and I can't figure out why.
Well, I can get rid of that sign. I can.
Oh no, it's not the sign that you created. It's the one to enter the room.
Oh, have you entered the room?
Yes, I'm in. It's just that not in OBS. OBS won't let me get rid of the sign, but I'm in, and it's working fine.
At the bottom screen where you can say, and I'm not sure, you might have to have an account yeah. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing what you're.
Yeah, it's just OBS, and maybe Spiff can record it. I'll troubleshoot that later, because it's.
Okay. Yeah, because I've recorded. I've done with the live stream with OBS, and I recorded a video, and we walked around the room and we did stuff. So I can't. I'm sorry, I'm not helpful.
Yeah, we'll figure that out later. I'm just renaming it.
Okay, another couple of minutes, and then we'll begin.
Thanks, Meryl.
All right. My clock says it's time to begin. So, hello, everybody. My name is Meryl McBride, and I have the pleasure of serving as your host today. I want to welcome you to this installment of our VWEC Expert Series, in which we ask educational professionals to share with us their experiences and their insights into ways that virtual worlds can be used to engage students. I'm pleased to introduce our guest presenter today, Bethany Winslow, who will share with us her experiences with browser-based VR and comment on its potential for collaboration and authentic learning in virtual worlds. In the process, she will offer the audience a tour of a Mozilla Hub's room, and she will describe some of her work there. Bethany is the Director of Online Learning for the School of Information at San Jose State University. She works with the Virtual Center for Archives and Records Administration at her institution, with the Community Virtual Library, and with colleagues at other institutions. She offers experience and expertise in online teaching and learning, educational technologies, digital pedagogy, adult learning theory, instructional design, remote collaboration, and fostering communities of practice in virtual environments. That's a big wow. Her graduate work focused on online teaching and learning, and her work at San Jose State has included developing working relationships with stakeholders at multiple levels. We will be using Speakeasy for Bethany's talk. In addition, please know that this presentation will be recorded and streamed on YouTube. You can find the stream at the address that we will insert into local chat, I hope. Feel free to post questions to chat during her brief talk, and I will collect them for her to answer before we go over to the Mozilla Hub's room. So, Bethany, thank you, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. presentation, I want to give you a brief overview on the journey of the iSchool piloting the use of self-hosted Mozilla Hubs rooms for faculty and students. And I'll talk about why we think it's important. And I assure you that despite the enthusiasm I have for this technology, my Vicara colleagues and I are still committed to desktop virtual environments and our beloved Second Life region. I feel like I've been talking about this same thing for a long time. The fact is, my colleague Marie Vans and I started talking about the idea of Mozilla Hubs as a gateway drug in mid-2020, and we presented on this idea at the OpenSim Community Conference in the December of that year. So this is a big project that's been a long time in the works, and hopefully the information I share here will help you think about how you might adapt what we've done. So here's our agenda. What is browser-based VR? Why Hubs? Some facts and figures, and then we'll have some time for a bit of Q&A, and I've got a handout for you. So we'll jump into our own Hubs room that I've created for you guys after that. And it's a persistent place that I've created just for you guys. So I've got a 4-minute video explanation of what WebXR is, and it's linked on the handout that I'll give you in just a little bit. Hubs rooms are just browser-based 3-dimensional virtual environments, and that means they exist on a web browser on your computer. One of the many exciting things about this technology that I love is that you can access these rooms without downloading anything. They're accessible on just about any device, a computer or a laptop, an internet-connected VR headset, or even, believe it or not, a smartphone. Hubs Web XR rooms allow for people to meet together in highly customized environments that go way beyond the 2 dimensions of a website or a web conference in Zoom. So the potential value of WebXR rooms for creating libraries and galleries for remote learning and for social interaction cannot be overstated. These rooms make content and how we interact with that content and with each other in that shared space more accessible to a wider audience than our physical rooms make possible. So why, why are we working with any virtual environments, and why Hubs? First of all, the iSchools programs are 100% online, and being at the heart of the Silicon Valley, and that means we're committed to providing an educational experience that's high tech, high touch, and high quality. We've always wanted to provide alternative ways to socialize and collaborate, and that's why we're committed to Second Life, and we did so, all those years ago. But despite the increased options for virtual interactions, we still see the value of maintaining our region and believe the interest will come back to Second Life as 3D virtual spaces become more truly mainstream. Now, the choice for developing and using Hubs was really easy. It's simply the lowest barrier to entry platform with great content creation options. And it is, like I said, accessible on any device working on a VR headset, but it's great on desktops too. And we wanted something that was easy for our students to become more familiar with this kind of technology, in part because the American Library Association, among others, considers this and other related VR technologies to be in the top 10 trends to watch. So Hubs is just plain crazy easy to use as well. This is a screenshot that shows that the place button, you can easily add content, 3D, 3D models and pictures, and you can share your camera in world and your desktop, and do a traditional presentation, even sharing your screen. And you can even place a working teleport to someone else's room. If you have a URL to it, you just put the link into chat in there and click a magic wand icon. Really, the functionality is incredible. And yeah, it's all that, and no need to create an account to use it. So learning to work in Hubs takes a little bit of time to play around with it, but it's not hard, especially for people who have experience in 3D, understanding what X, Y, and Z coordinates are. This screenshot just shows how to upscale an object. You hover your mouse over your object and you click on the space bar and it pulls up this little menu. So if you don't have an account and you're not logged in, you can't pin the objects so that the objects are persistent in the room. But if you do have an account and are logged in, you can pin and unpin these things and they stay in place until you remove them. Now, I'm not going into a tutorial on building hubs, but I want to show you a screenshot of the editing side of hubs, which is called Spoke. Now, as with Second Life, when you really get serious about this stuff, you start learning how to build. And while you can customize a room from within the room itself, it's in the Spoke editor where you have really full capabilities. I want to briefly just describe two important concepts if you do decide to get into this. The editing environment produces what's called a scene. You then apply that scene to your room. And here's how I think of it. The hubs rooms are they're a big old empty holding bucket. You can create a hubs room and then you use a stock scene that it gives you automatically and manually add some content, but it's much better to use Spoke and create scenes from scratch, or you can import other scenes and delete parts of it that you want to or that you don't want. There's a lot of remixing options and it's really easy to add pictures, videos, 3D models from Sketchfab, for example, or use the building tools that are automatically in there to make water or create buildings or whatnot. The possibilities are truly endless. But what's really great about this is that you can have one single location, one room, and change the scene of it anytime at the click of a button on the fly with people in the room with you. You could have a whole library of scenes you've created. Let's say, for example, you have a bunch of 360 photos from an archaeological site visit. You could make a scene from each photo, very, very simple to do, and then conduct a virtual tour with your students standing in just the one room. And you can also share the files, those scene files, with other people. So you can have a group of students that can collaborate to build an exhibit together in one space, passing that project file around. Or you can connect people's rooms, individual hubs rooms. One student worker, actually two of our student workers did exactly that, creating something for our director for a conference exhibit. I'm actually going to show you that in just a little bit, I think. So I could talk about what this tech can do all day, but we need to move on. So I want to talk a little bit about the timeline of the initiatives we've got and some numbers to give you an idea of how this all worked out in practice. Getting to this stage, which is now we have our own instance of Hubs code on AWS servers. And we've got a bunch of different rooms and a bunch of ideas, but it took time to get to this point, to 2023. First, I had a successful proof of concept in fall of 2020. And I was just plain lucky that when I moved to the iSchool could move so quickly. And that's in large part because our new director that was hired just before the fall semester of 2021 is a big advocate of all things virtual. He's worked in Second Life in the past. He felt strongly that Second Life had trouble gaining traction because of the learning curve, but he really sees the value of these environments. My colleagues and fellow iSchool instructor, Marie Vance, who I believe is here, and she and I started talking about using Mozilla Hubs as a sort of gateway drug. And the idea of that is that it could bridge the gap of frustration, get people hooked on easy virtual environments. And then when they have the confidence and find out how great these can be, some of them will inevitably migrate to more complex environments. So let me talk about some facts and figures of how this has worked out over time. So fall 2021, we had 5 students that in a small beta test create graduation rooms. And then in early 2022, a few other students started exploring as part of special projects for an emerging technologies class. Now, despite the small numbers, what our students created was awesome and really inspiring. And it's important for, like I said, the future of libraries and LIS professionals to be familiar with this kind of emerging technology. And traditionally speaking, librarians are not often the first person that comes to mind when we think of tech. We think of them as managing books, but it's information they manage. And information today is born digital. So fall of 2022, we had lots of great ideas, but we needed to get clear about our visions and our plans for how to scale this up. Our student employees, who are the support team, generally work only 5 hours a week, and they too needed to skill up a bit. So we really spent some time in fall 22 really regrouping. An initiative like this takes time and patience to really build up momentum, and we needed the support in place too. So but I take heart in what our students have actually done and said, and so there's some quotes on what some of the on the following slides that are some of the main highlights that I think will inspire you. And keep in mind, these are not gaming students or computer engineers. They're librarians getting their MLIS degrees. They were not experienced in any virtual technology of VR. None of them had a VR headset. None of them are using Second Life. So it's pretty inspiring. So Sarah participated because she said specifically she wanted to explore and gain insight into the potential use in the LIS field. And she had a graduation themed party room that she shared with her family and her remote friends. Tree built a room that was a special project for his course for the SJSU King Library's Clever, which is the VR lab. And he said this technology creates access where access may not currently exist in the physical library world. Michelle built for a special project in one of her classes an immersive exhibit on assistive technology and automation. She said, I envision this technology as a creative alternative to virtual meetings, events, and classrooms. Rosa created a 3-story house on the Mozilla Hubs instance, not on our instance, but a 3-story house with a rooftop garden. And she said Hubs was easy enough for my 8-year-old grandson to navigate, and that they usually FaceTime each weekend. But she said that he found it to be so fun that they celebrated their birthdays in there. She also introduced this to a librarian who works at a health sciences library who started using Hubs with his students. Now, our student employee, Callie, created a manga club room, saying, I created this room as a demonstration of how a library could use virtual reality in a practical way. I hosted a manga club at my last library, and being able to use this room for the teens to meet and discuss their favorite anime and manga is a game changer. It not only gives them a space to meet, but it teaches them about this technology and what they can do with it. So these students have artifacts that they've created that they can put on their e-portfolios for a job interview. They also have gotten good experience as virtual presenters. They've participated in multiple conferences in a hybrid virtual modality that is very similar to the experience of what we do presenting in Second Life. 2022 was a good year to start talking about this because, as I've said, AR, VR, and augmented reality have been identified as some of the top trends to watch for LIS professionals. And so in 3 of our graduates were participating in they had a panel presentation at the Library 2.0 conference this was back in March for the Virtual Reality Learning in Library Leading the Way conference. And the iSchool is one of the sponsors of that particular conference that's held 3 times a year, usually has several thousand attendees. And a couple of these team presentations that we did were really an interesting hybrid format. This screenshot shows the room of one of them. We had a couple presentations together at the American Library Association's conference and the California Library Association of Conferences last year. And at the ALA, Dr. Chow, our director, was on site physically sharing a slideshow presentation on site, but the overhead was showing the slides but it was actually from within hubs. So participants in the physical room got this big aha moment when he navigated away from the presentation that's on the wall, you can see on that screenshot, revealing that he was actually in a virtual space with other virtual participants. And so for the CLA conference in June of 2022, Dr. Chow was also on site, and he did this using a VR headset, demoing this and interacting with us remotely in hubs. So the physical conference attendees got a chance to interact with our students remotely, and some of them jumped into the room with us and were chatting and talking with our students, and all of this was displayed on the overhead. It was a really exciting moment for all of us involved. Last year, we had a post-graduation hangout party in hubs. Let me make sure that's the picture. There we go. That's the slide there. And that was a lot of fun. So what's next for us? I'm excited that we're launching a banned and controversial gallery with a Hubs Room Challenge for 2023 in a couple weeks at the start of the spring semester. We'll solicit any interested students who want to create a room on a book or on any topic they like that's related. And all of these rooms will be connected by portals. In mid-fall 2023, we're going to start promoting the competition side of it with an open invitation to the gallery. People can visit that all through the year. And the student rooms that are up for vote, and we'll give out a Student's Choice Award to, whoever wins the big prize. And I really hope this will inspire future students, future librarians. And I do think it's something that can really grow over time. And I'd like to actually replicate the challenge just each academic year. A couple student workers and myself are making the first few rooms. And they're, we want to show MLIS students why this is relevant in libraries and galleries. And we hope they'll get inspired. And we're working to complete our rooms. I don't know that I could show them to you because they're not really quite finished. I might, we'll see. But we're going to have them done by the start of the spring semester. So hopefully this presentation whets your appetite to consider how browser-based virtual environments like hubs might be a really great way for newbies to experience the power of virtual environments so that they have the energy it takes to invest in the more robust ones like what we've had here in Second Life all along. I've said for a long time now, it's time to take a second look at Second Life. Thank you. And I do have a handout for you guys. That's a Google document that's got some fun stuff, but I wanted to answer any questions before we go hopping around to see the room I've created for you guys and some other examples.
Yes, other questions. And thank you, Bethany. This was so interesting.
Glad you
But we're not
guys
done
found it
yet.
well.
We're going to make a trip here. But a few questions
yeah.
before we make the trip.
Thanks. Any questions at all? We don't have to do questions. We can all go jumping into hubs. But I do want to say something really quick before we do that, you guys. Your computer can get very confused, right? If you're in two virtual places. So I would highly recommend that you turn your sound off and your mic off in one world. I find if I jump from here to into the hubs, I might have my mic not turn on in hubs. So it's you guys know virtual stuff and our mic issues is a constant thing, but hubs really that room I've given you guys, it's a persistent room. You guys can go in there and play around all you like. Okay, Marie's got a question. Thanks you guys.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, cool. So my question is, when is the next presentation on how you were able to get this past all the university protections? I don't know how you describe that.
That's a tech question for yeah, I agree, Spuff. Yeah, awesome. We didn't have any trouble with it. And you know what? Abigail might know more about that. I don't know the technical side of this about, yeah, the word you're looking for is bureaucrats, as Curious George said. In a nutshell, iSchool kind of operates a little
The table.
on a little on their own way. I don't know how else to say it other than a little on their own way. Essentially, if people are concerned, because this is not accessible when we talk about accessibility, like if somebody has vision impairment, right? We would take the content and make that content, just put it on a web page, right? So you can see the pictures described with text and blah blah blah. So we don't have answers for any questions from on high as far as like we aren't using these rooms in any, it's not integrated with the curriculum. Nobody's required to use them. This is all just optional. So yeah, so I'm sorry I don't have a really great coherent answer to that, Marie.
Are there any other questions? If not, before we adjourn to the room, let me remind you that we have VWEC Expert Series next on Friday, January 27 at 1 p.m. SL time, and we will host Actuality for Brian Lonsway, Professor of Architecture, who was the designing inspiration behind the Eduverse Welcome Center project, and he will talk to us. We also usually, after these sessions, meet at the back for a social moment. Some of you may come back, and some of us will be here. And if not, we will look forward to seeing you for our next presentation in 2 weeks. Okay, Bethany, you want to be our guide?
Sure. I just chatted in there. There is a limit to how many people can fit in the room. It's not an exact amount. About 15 or 20 or so, question mark. And I'm not afraid of us crashing our instance. We're not going to crash anything. We're not going to break anything. But if you can't get into the room because it's too full, if you can't get in, you can spectate, you can watch and chat from outside. So there's that. So I'm not sure your tech can run both at the same time. Mine can, but let's just see how this goes. Let's just see it. And when you get in there, keep your mics off, maybe keep mics off in there, or we might get terrible feedback, might get feedback noise, right?
Okay.
All right, you guys are all experienced. I don't have to, you guys understand this. I'm really interested to see how it works with this live stream. I want to see the ice cream, the stream too. But you can, yes, you can. But you guys, this room is also open. This is a persistent environment. This is persistent. You can go there anytime you want. Okay. So here is the room. I'm going to jump in there myself. And it's on I shared with you guys, and I see a lot of you are on there, the chat. Oh, see, and I'm hearing myself already. That's the link. That's the room. Okay. I'm going to turn my audio off in World and just go into Hub. I'm turning my audio off in SL entirely for now.
Some of us will remain here, for those of you who want to stay behind. Okay, we are ready for the migration.
We do have live stream, and I put media on a prim in front of us, but I don't see it working. Does anybody see it working? You should click on it and it should work. That's what Spiff gave me, and let me give you the live stream from earlier, just in case.
With a safe archive the best practices for learning in virtual environments. Anybody who does not move to the new Eduverse area in Second Life will still be a part of the Virtual Worlds Education Consortium. They can be included in our directories and databases. It's an exciting time for education in Second Life and in virtual worlds.
I wish I knew what that Val, are you playing that video? All right, I'm going to switch the scene, you guys.
No, I'm not playing that video. I think it's coming
Oh,
from
okay.
Ellie in Second Life. It's an old VWEC intro.
I've turned the sound off in Second Life, so I'm hearing it through somebody's mic, I guess. Okay, I'm going to switch the room scene, you guys. So I'm clicking on room settings. Keep your mics off, you guys, if you're not talking. I'll do the same thing.
Anybody who does not move Eduverse?
And actually got a yes. Since I've never heard that word personally, I can send it to you because it's safe. What would you
You guys are
It's an exciting time for education in Second Life and in virtual worlds.
So you guys, this is the scene. If you guys are not actively talking and keep our mics off, we get too much feedback. But this is the scene we used for hosting. We did a couple conferences. Persistent. Well, it's a scene that's attached to a certain room where we've had virtual conferences. Okay, I'm going to this very you guys. If you are not speaking in Worlds, turn your
Associate Provost, Vice President of Academic Affairs, and a number of acting administrative she was I can't remember she's a political science.
Thank you. Isn't that better?
Throw most of it away.
Okay, you guys want me to see how we put a portal to another space? Because I can put a portal to another room, not this room. This is your, if you look at the toolbar, or not, I'm sorry, not the toolbar, the URL, this is the VWEC room, right? But let's go to a different room entirely. Let me go find a different room. Let me think here. Because I can show you scenes, but I can actually I can actually connect to another room, and I'm going to show you how we do that. Let me think here. Oh, I should have had a link handy. Hold on one second. Anybody have any questions in World, in where we're here in the Hubs room while I'm looking for this other handy? We have a gazillion rooms, student created rooms, my own rooms. Nobody's got questions? Okay. Let's go to, you know what I'm going to show you? I'm going to show you a room from the Banned and Controversial Gallery. It is a work in progress. It's not finished, but this is not my room. This is Callie's room. She's working on this room, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give you guys, I'm going to show you this. We able to log, okay, anybody else? No, Marie, nobody here has a Hubs login because this is on our instance, right? This is not on Mozilla Hubs. This is on iSchool.
Okay, so the Mozilla, that's what I was questioned was, does the Mozilla Hubs login work? And the answer is no.
No.
Okay.
Because that's Mozilla Hubs run instance. We have our own instance because it's an open source code. We installed it on our own AWS servers.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. It does have potential. And actually, Sprocket, what you say about logging in anonymously, there's a little whole backstory about what we needed to do and because we wanted to be able to control access to the rooms and also be able to shut rooms down if there was anything inappropriate. So this is designed to be decentralized and people can just create rooms and do stuff. We had to lock down our instance. I can talk to you if anybody's interested in this stuff. We can meet another time and whatever. Let me show you how to create a room. This is a portal to another room. So I'm gonna just put this right over here so you guys can kind of stand near me, and I'm going to talk you through it. I have the link to this student's room, right? So it's not this room, it's another one. And literally all I'm doing is I'm facing in the direction where I'm going to pin it right up there in the, into cyberspace here. I'm clicking on the chat button. I'm posting the link. So if you click on the chat button and you see how there's you can just put a word in or whatever, an emoticon. There's an icon of a magic wand. And when you use that magic wand, this thing, and I'm scaling it up so it's gigantic, right? And I'm pinning it into place. And I'll take this down later. But hover your mouse over that, you guys. Let's go meet over there real quick because this is what our students, like I said, this is part of the Banned and Controversial. Should I boot her? Yeah. You're in two places at once. Hold on. Who else is here? Julia and Sprocket are in here. Where's Sprocket? Herding cats. This is like herding cats. Okay. All right. I'm gonna leave this room. I'm gonna just message you guys. Go back to the room here. Okay. Go back to that room, you guys. That's where we're all going. Get rid of this, unpin, delete.